Good evening, guys, and happy Wednesday to all of your sunshiny faces. Guys, I'm getting ready to take a shower and get to bed. The dogs already had their advent calendars for today. So Charlie's extra happy right now. I actually forgot to give them to him for like 2 days, which since I have been doing the advent calendars with the dogs over the last 3 years, there might have been like 1 day where I forget, so they might get like 2 treats on that day or whatever. But I actually forgot 2 days. So this morning they ended up having 2 cookies with their breakfast, and then they got their other one tonight, which was actually today's. So we are all caught back up. But I was telling you guys, I was like, I haven't like missed a day. Normally whenever they have theirs, I have my piece of chocolate. And like I've been only 2 days behind. So even though, again, they were like, well, I was 1 day behind before, but like I haven't actually been as bad as I was with the dogs. It was because yesterday I was like, oh, I have to remember to get them their, you know, their cookies, and it was getting really late, and I was like, you know what, I'm just not going to do it right now, because it is kind of a whole process to gather up all the dogs, and like normally Charlie comes running anyway. And so and Bliss, if she's awake, like she knows like if the other dogs are gathering in the kitchen, then she probably should too, because they're probably getting a treat. And then Bravo, though, sometimes he's a stubborn one. Like even though he's getting a treat, like he will make you bring him in the kitchen or something like that. Like he's not that food driven, so he's kind of like, I'll take it or leave it kind of thing. Like if I'm in there, I'll get a cookie, but if I have to get up and go and get it, like I'm not gonna really do that. But like so Charlie he will hunt you down for food. So anyways, but the thing is though, is that when we had our beagle, he was food driven also too, but, and I don't want to say he was food aggressive, but he was like very like nothing was gonna stand in between him and food. So like if you had like you know, if we were like eating popcorn out in the living room, he would probably try and climb on top of the couch to grab the popcorn out of the bowl or something like that, whereas Charlie is like, I don't want to say better trained, but like he's not that you know, that driven where he will like do that kind of stuff, like to climb up on top of you to try and get your food out of like your bowl while you're eating it. You know, and like the thing is too, our beagle too, he would just like go in, like, you know, like you wouldn't be paying attention, he'd just go in and like try and steal your food. Charlie is much better about that, and I feel like it's, again, too, maybe a little bit, like my parents did such a good job though in like training him, but he was a purebred beagle. There was not a lot for helping him because he was just very like very stubborn, like I said, very food driven, very and I've heard that that's the case with a lot of beagles. He was our only beagle that we had, but I heard that that's most beagles are very like food driven like that. It's actually funny, I think one of Matthew's friends, like they grew up and I think they had like beagles their whole time, like, you know, his whole life, but like his grandparents had them too. But because I remember his grandma brought, like when Matthew was in like 1st or 2nd grade, his grandma brought one of them, I think, to school. And I remember my grandma, who at the time was like going to pick Matthew up, was like talking to her, and like, I don't know, they said something about like, oh yeah, like, you know, beagles and, you know, the food driven kind of, you know, all that kind of stuff. But it's funny because, like I said, I've heard that a lot about beagles. Another thing that's funny is that we've had, ever since him, all of our other dogs have been mixed breed. So our like 2nd dog that we had after him, but we had them like at the same time, but like in order, we got he was a husky German shepherd, so you guys can imagine the hair problem that we had. And then there was Ike, which I'm sure you guys probably saw in many of the early vlogs. He was a Jack Russell, and I don't know if he was like purebred or not, but they found him, you know, like wandering the streets, and then we ended up adopting him from a shelter. So we don't really know his background story backstory or exactly all of what he is or, you know, anything like that, but he was a Jack Russell. And that's the thing too, like I feel like he had very much Jack Russell tendencies, like compared to what I've seen other Jack Russells kind of behave like. But then there's Bliss, and she's most likely a pit lab mix. They weren't actually sure. My mom kind of thinks she's a Catahoula, which is another type. I think it's like a herding dog or like, you know, sheepdog kind of like similar breed. Like not something I heard of, but it's funny because a lot of her tendencies are very similar to, again, things that I've read about that type of breed of dog, where it's not so similar in like pits or labs. So yeah, like I said, it's kind of interesting. But she's either, yeah, I think like a pit lab mix, or at least mixed with something. But then again too, if she's not a pit, like the Catahoula also have like the brindle kind of like coloring in their coat, which is what she has. And like, I don't know, there's like little elements kind of in her face that look a little pit, but again too, it could be the breed mix. So like I said, we're not entirely sure of exactly what she was. But then we've got the puppies, which are Chihuahua and Dachshund mixes. So, and you guys can obviously tell Charlie looks a lot more like a Dachshund, and it's funny too because even when they were puppies, you could tell he stood out a lot more because he was the long one and he looked like a little sausage running around, whereas the other ones looked like puppies. He looked like a little sausage. He was much longer than all the other puppies when we were fostering the 5 of them. So, and Bravo was very like, you know, kind of compact like he is now, and that's how most of the other dogs look, but not Charlie. You could definitely pick him out of the litter. But as I was saying to you about like the breeds and everything like that, I feel like it could also be that like purebreds just tend to be like in whatever their distinctive kind of like, you know, like breeding is, and what they're kind of known for. I feel like they fit into kind of that mold a lot of the time. And like I said, I heard that a lot of you know, beagles are like that. But like, whereas Charlie, he, you know, like I said, is probably to the same extent food driven, but he's really good. Even if he's sitting in your lap and you have like a plate on your lap with like food in it or something like that, he will not touch it. He knows that he is not supposed to touch it and he won't touch it. Whereas like I said, our beagle, if like there was food near him, he would be devouring it off the plate. So again too, it was no lack of training him. Like my parents took him to so many like puppy, like, you know, training and all kinds of stuff. And oh my goodness, sorry guys, I had to interrupt this little scheduled program too. Do you guys see? So I don't know if this is a dachshund thing or not, but why is this dog's lip always getting stuck? He was laying down when I stopped talking about him, like when I started the video. Like I said, like Charlie, you know, things like that, and then he laid down and he must have pushed his lip completely up and now it's stuck. It's funny, every once in a while Bravo's lip will get stuck, but it is never as bad and dramatic as Charlie's. Like Charlie gets like these kind of like stuck lips all the time. Look, can you look up here? Look up here. Can you not see that far away? I'm trying. Do you guys see? Oh my goodness. You know, you can't tell from that side, but then you look over here and bam, he just licked his lips. He's got his lips stuck. Poor Charlie dog. You got little crooked teeth in the front too. But you look so cute. Like I was saying with our first dog, our beagle, like I said, so we had him, my parents actually got him right before I was born. Like my mom was pregnant with me, I think, when they ended up adopting him. And she said that was one of the more difficult things that she probably ended up deciding to do, because they, like, you know, got a brand new little puppy with a little Kayla on the way. So Charlie's got his lip unstuck now. But anyways, they took him to so many things, so many dog, you know, like training things, you know, all kinds of stuff, like so many of those things, you know, like doggy play dates and like all that kind of stuff. And I will say he was very socialized. We had a friend that they lived like a few blocks away from us, and they also had a beagle as well. Which, funny enough, I don't remember if she was very like if she was as food driven as him. I feel like she kind of was, but she was also beagle. And they would bring, my parents would bring him over sometimes, and they would just like, you know, play like they were really good friends. Whereas again too, we haven't, especially too because like when we had the puppies, especially too during that time, we were in lockdown, and so it was kind of a little bit difficult to sort of socialize them also. But they don't really have, like, Charlie's actually really sweet with people, and it's funny, Bravo seems a lot better with other animals, like not so much the guinea pigs. Like Charlie's actually really good with the guinea pigs, because I was just thinking about this, we were cleaning their cage upstairs and we had them on the ground in like the playpen, and like Charlie's just like very inquisitive about it, whereas Bravo, I think that he's a little bit more like sees them as prey, and Charlie I think just sees them as like, what is this thing, like, you know. And but like he's much more of a people person, and or people dog whereas Bravo seems to be much more of a like he gets along with other dogs a lot better. But it was kind of difficult because like I said, kind of during that time was a little bit more of the you know, we weren't able to socialize them very much because we were in lockdown. And like it's funny too because at the beginning, I want to say we got them in, what was it, 2017 or 2018, something like that. And so like, and they were actually, they did pretty well, like again too with people and like everything like that. Like we had one Father's Day where like they were out and like they were fine, and then I feel like when we didn't have any like company over and stuff like that, it was like the dogs regressed a lot, and like that was kind of difficult for them to like then be more like socialized and stuff like that. And I feel like it's the same with people but we don't even think about really how it impacts our pets as well, like, you know, that kind of thing. So like I said, they, you know, have a little bit of training and kind of things like that to get back to, but overall Charlie is still really good. Bravo's the one that's not so good with, again, like the people socializing aspect, but he's a lot better with animals, and I guess specifically more dogs than I think Charlie is. Whereas, and it's not that Charlie like is like aggressive towards other dogs, I think that he's scared of them, whereas Bravo's not really, and he loves other dogs. Like Bliss is his best friend ever. So like it's so cute too. I find them all the time in the hallway sleeping together. Like he loves her so much, and Charlie is much more of an independent and, like I said, much more of a people person. And I think he's like I don't want to say smart enough, but he realizes like I need people to get the things I want, like food for example, so he likes to hang around with us. And I think he realizes that people have food. Other dogs don't normally have food because they eat it if they have it, so he tends to want to be around people that might drop a, you know, some crumbs or something like that for him. But anyways, I'm, like I said, gonna take a shower and get to bed, but Charlie's lip went back to normal now, so he just sat back up when I said that, because I told you guys they're like really smart about knowing when I go to end the vlog every night, they know that means like, oh, we're getting ready to take a shower. So yeah, we're gonna go and take a shower now and get to bed. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love it if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.